Hello, and welcome back to Crit and Crit. I'm Scint,
I'm Axion.
and we are continuing our discussion of Terry Pratchett's Hogfather while we play through Pokemon Christmas. How much longer are we going to be in this dungeon?
Not long.
Oh god, I hate this music so much.
I don't like it either. I think we only have a couple more battles to do. It's not a very big room, from what I remember, unless they added extra levels, which I seriously hope not.
Or if they did, they changed the music, because this is like the worst music in the game.
It really is.
But I guess sometimes you have to do something unpleasant to someone else to make you feel good about yourself. Isn't that right, game composers? Speaking of, our topic today is moral cruelty.
Oh boy. So, to make it 100% clear to the viewer, can you define moral cruelty?
Basically what I had just said. Looking at the misfortune of another, whether inflicted by you or just it being poor luck, and taking it as the opportunity to make it a moral lesson for those around you. See what happened to this poor soul, it's a shame they didn't, blah 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 blah. In a sense, it's kind of victim blaming, also combined with schadenfreude, and always sanctimonious and self-righteous.
Okay, so pretty much exactly what I assumed it was from the get-go.
Yep, I'm trying to find the page I wanted to talk about, but, it's the little match girl.
Ah, yes. I will give you a few moments to find that then.
I mean, you can go ahead and, like, you know the background of the story, right?
I am vaguely familiar with the concept, but I don't know the story beyond what's hinted at within Hogfather itself.
I'm just going to start by saying I believe it's a Hans Christian Andersen story, which should tell you right off the bat it doesn't end well.
I mean, we know it doesn't end well just from how things went in Hogfather.
I mean, like, anything Andersen wrote was generally made of depression.
That's fair.
Like, you know how the original Little Mermaid went, right?
I believe she died and turned into sea foam because she couldn't do something or other. I don't remember.
Okay, so original Little Mermaid. Not only did she give up her voice, but every step she took was like being stabbed. And she had 3 days to make the prince fall in love with her. Otherwise, since mermaids did not have a soul, she would turn to sea foam unless she could get the prince to marry her. He did not marry her, and her sisters had come to her and had basically said they made a deal with the witch. If you can kill the prince, you can come back and be a mermaid. But she cannot bring herself to kill the man she loves, even though he's marrying somebody else. So she turns into sea foam. But because she was a good little girl, she became an angel and got a soul. So yeah, depressing as heck.
Well then. So I don't know the details of the story, but from the way Albert describes it, the entire point of the story is to, 1, kill the little match girl because she's stuck out in the elements, and 2, make everybody feel bad about the fact that she died.
Basically. Yeah, and I'm still trying to find it. I don't remember exactly where in here it was, so I'm taking a bit.
And it's very much one of those, oh, this is so sad, we should do something, and then they make themselves feel good because they felt bad.
It's Thoughts and Prayers, the fairy tale.
Yes. It's kind of like, should we do something? We should do something. Of course. I don't like wheezing very much.
But yeah, the little match girl comes from a broken home, is out selling matches on Christmas Eve to get any money to live by. No one wants to buy them. She's freezing to death in the alleyway, so she lights her stock of matches to keep herself warm. They all burn out. She hallucinates about her dead grandmother, who was the only person who had loved her, and then she dies and becomes an angel. So that's the original fairy tale. Death is told, okay, here's our next stop. Oh, is it another good child who gets a present? Albert hands him an hourglass. Death is to go collect the little match girl. On Hog's watch, the night that he's been spending giving people things and making people happy and generally enjoying being the Hogfather rather than Death, because no one's happy to see Death, and if they are happy to see Death, we have bigger questions.
Yep.
So, it actually brings us in with an argument between Death and Albert. Come on, Albert. You know you're not supposed to do this sort of thing, Master. You know what happened last time. The Hogfather can do it, though. But little match girl's dying in the snow is part of what the Hogswatch spirit is all about, Master, said Albert desperately. I mean, people hear about it and say, we may be poorer than a disabled banana and have only mud and old boots to eat, but at least we're better off than the poor little match girl, Master, and makes them feel happy and grateful for what they've got, see? So, yeah. It's also a healthy dose of, you could always have it worse, so stop complaining. Because Christmas is all about the Misery Olympics, apparently.
I mean...
This conversation honestly just feels like having, like, the most wonderful time of the year playing over a commercial for a suicide hotline.
Wow.
What? It's
No.
Christmas. You should be happy. You should be happy. You should be happy about for whatever you have. Christmas is the worst time of year for mental health because for one, you have it rubbed in your face if you're not on good terms with your family or if you don't have any family to turn to. And it's also the time of year for seasonal affective disorder to make depression go completely out of whack for people. So, yeah, mental health episodes are very much up at Christmas time, and it does not get talked about enough because we just paper happy faces and twee little snowmen and elves on everything, as if that will make things better. Spend your way to serotonin.
I mean,
So, yeah,
that's
obviously-
kind of the inevitable result of a society that defines happiness by how much stuff you have. And the solution to being unhappy is to get more stuff.
Yep. And it's obviously true in this story that Discworld is not immune from this, and Death is not happy. I know what the spirit of Hogswatch is, Albert. Sorry, Master, but look, it's all right anyway, because she wakes up and it's all bright and shining and tinkling music, and there's angels, Master. Ah, they turn up at the last minute with warm clothes and a hot drink. Not exactly at the last minute, Master, not as such. Well, more sort of just after the last minute. You mean after she's... Well, that's how the story goes, Master, it's not my fault. Why not turn up before? An angel has quite a large carrying capacity.
I forgot
Couldn't
about
say,
that.
Master. I suppose people think it's more satisfying the other way. Yeah. People think it's a better story if she dies rather than the angels actually saving her.
Well, yeah, because if she doesn't die, then there's no lesson to learn.
Even though you could also take the lesson that, look, she was a good, faithful little girl, and at the end, her faith came through for her and saved her life. That would be a really good lesson.
Yes, if most faiths that are being referenced in this particular inclination don't come with the built-in expectation of you're supposed to suffer and things are only supposed to get better after you die.
Anyway, Death thinks this is absolute nonsense and takes matters into his own little skeletal hands. And gives the little match girl more time. You ain't really allowed to do that. The Hogfather can. The Hogfather gives presents. There's no better present than a future. And they take the little girl, shove her off on the two watchmen passing through, our friends Navi and company, and tell them to take her somewhere warm and get her something to eat. And then Death and Albert wait for the angels to show up and throw snowballs at them until they leave.
And that
Yeah.
kind of is the backbone of this entire thing.
Well, it gets even a little better / worse. Because, yeah, our watchmen do what they're told. Like, yeah, I guess, yeah, we can take her to the watch house, there should be some spare food left. But they're complaining that, well, it seems like we've been chosen to do a bit of charity. Well, that doesn't seem very charitable, shoving it off on other people. Everybody wants nice things to happen. Very few actually want to make them happen, because that would require doing something themselves that would inconvenience them.
Yep. But yeah, what I said a few minutes ago is kind of the point. Seriously? I just healed that Houndoom. A lot of the moral systems that Pratchett is targeting with this little bit of satire are built on the expectation that suffering in life is to be expected, and that relief from said suffering is, for the people who are suffering the most, not going to happen until post-mortem.
And see, that actually puts me in mind of something completely unrelated to this. You might call it Calvinism, because it's the philosophy of Calvin's dad. Go do something you hate. Being miserable builds character.
I mean, yeah. That's actually completely 100% on the nose.
I don't need to be miserable to build character. I can do it in 10 seconds on a pre-gen website.
Oh, it's like he saw that debuff coming. That's okay. I don't need the debuff to finish you off. But yeah, there's a lot of these systems that are built with the idea already in mind that suffering is an expected inherent trait of living in the world, and that if you are not fortunate enough to already be in a position where you don't suffer, that you cannot expect actual relief from said suffering until after you die and are shuffled off to insert pleasant afterlife of choice here. Because the entire basis of that system is that things don't get better until after you've finished up your time on Earth. Your time among the living is a suffering fest during which you build character through enduring hardship. And that to expect relief is to be sidestepping the entire point of living.
This also kind of comes up with the discussion that Albert and Death have about why only the rich kids get good presents, and all the poor kids just get really inexpensive stuff. But I thought I gave them everything. Long pause from Albert. And Albert basically knew that it didn't matter if he would have gotten a present like that as a kid. He tells Death about this really, really cool looking rocking horse he wanted when he was really young, and there was no way they were ever going to get it. His family was dirt poor. And in my stocking, our dad had put in this little horse he carved himself. Ah, and that was worth more than all the expensive toy horses in the world. No, it weren't. All I could think of was that it wasn't the big horse in the window. Only grown-ups think like that. You're a selfish little bugger when you're 7. Anyway, he got drunk after lunch and trod on it. Supposing the Hogfather had brought you the wonderful horse, Dad would have flogged him for a couple of bottles. But we have been in houses where the children had many toys and brought them even more toys, and in houses like this the children get practically nothing. Be happy with what you've got, is that the idea? That's about the size of it, Master. This is wrong. It's not... It's right to be happy with what you've got, but you've got to have something to be happy about having. There's no point in being happy about having nothing. It is unfair. That's life, but I'm not. This is how it's supposed to go, Master. No, you mean this is how it goes. The world is not a kind place. As we have discussed in other videos, there is no such thing, quantifiably, as kindness or mercy. People have to make them happen. So, moral cruelty. Finding a way to make it the moral, quote, right to be cruel to others. And what kind of world does that create? Not one that the Hogfather seems to like.
But one that looks very familiar.
And that's about all I have.
Yep.
Until next time.
See ya.